hello, Ron.
Here are your keys. Seen your car's running like new. I'll bill you at the end of the month.
Fine.
Well, I'll see you around.
Ron, have you seen Betty recently? I mean, the last few days.
I don't see Betty, you know that.
She's been acting very strangely, running all kinds of errands for your grandfather, taking responsibilities, grabbing responsibilities. The girl's simply in over her head.
Oh, I guess she's caught in the middle.
Matter of fact, she's on her way over here now.
See you around, Papa.
Ron, if she is caught in the middle, she'll probably turn to you.
What are you getting at?
As her confidant.
Oh, I'm not in any mood to listen to somebody's marital problems, if that's what you mean.
Well, I just thought I'd warn you to head you off, so to speak.
Hey, you want it straight? I care about Betty. I guess that I'll always care about Betty and probably go off into a corner and sulk if she's in some kind of trouble. That's the way it is. Nothing more, nothing less.
Sure, I understand. It's funny the way things work out, isn't it?
Funny.
Betty and her ambitions. Now she's living with it. Now she's stuck with it.
Yeah, well, I hope the jalopy run's all right.
You have any trouble registering for your classes last night?
Oh, except that they asked me who to contact in case of an emergency. I put you down. I guess I should have asked you first.
Why should you? I'm glad you didn't find it necessary to. Here. This is for books and papers and pencils and things like that. I meant to give it to you last night, but I forgot all about it.
No, I don't need any money. I can get my books at the library.
You take this and keep it, and I don't want to hear another word about it. I happen to have a surprise for you, too.
Oh, good.
How about that?
Matthew's christening.
I only mentioned it last night.
Show me.
Yeah, I called it into Jerry last night.
Well, Rachel, that's what you call a graceful surrender. Oh, it must be the bread man. I guess it's the front door.
Well, who can it be at this hour?
Mr. Carson?
Martin Peyton sent you.
No, as a matter of fact, he didn't.
What are you doing here?
Couldn't we sit down and talk?
We don't have anything to talk about.
Well, didn't Rachel tell you that I found her, Pop?
Miss Wells told me, yes.
Oh, Miss Wells.
What do you want?
Well, wasn't there some kind of a reward, Mr. Carson?
Well, she said you refused it, but changed your mind. Yes, there was a reward, as a matter of fact.
Actually, I came here to talk about Rachel, Miss Wells. She seems to be a real nice girl.
So?
Well, I know I'm not exactly the knight in shining armor type, but, well, seeing that my wife filed for a divorce, I thought that I could...
What are you driving at?
I'm going to take Miss Wells out some night.
You're going to what?
Take her out.
Did she say that she wanted to go out with you?
Well, I thought I'd ask you first.
You must be kidding.
Seeing that you've taken over things, Mr. Carson, I thought I'd be polite and ask you
Stay
first.
away from her.
You don't think I'm good enough?
That's right.
Somehow I thought you'd be more tolerant, Mr. Carson. You were dealt a bad hand, and I was dealt a bad hand.
And don't bother drawing the parallel any further than that.
You were in that courtroom. You heard what the judge said.
No, he was wrong. See, I was sent to prison for something I didn't do. You were turned scot-free for a crime that, as far as I'm concerned, you committed. Here's your $10. I'm busy. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. In case I didn't make myself perfectly clear, Miss Wells is off limits.
One more question, sir. Does she let you call her Allison?
Yes?
Mrs. Court to see you.
Send her in, please. I'm glad you came right away.
You said on the phone it was urgent. Mr. Harrington, I have a very busy morning, so if there are any complaints about the insurance plan Mr. Peyton said...
It's nothing like that. It's a personal matter between you and me.
Oh, really?
Maybe you'd better sit down.
I think I'd rather stand.
Suit yourself. Betty, I have reason to believe that Martin Peyton's changed his will. I have reason to believe that he's disinherited Rodney in favor of Stephen.
Because the family attorney flew in from Boston.
Because of the urgency with which he brought him here. He knows Kennelly hates to fly, and he wouldn't have subjected him to it, unless it were a matter pertaining to the estate. Now, I think you'd agree that I have a right to know for sure. I've confronted Martin Peyton with it, but he'll neither confirm nor deny it.
And you thought I knew something about it?
Don't you?
Well, as a matter of fact, no, and right now I'm rather glad that I don't, so if you'll excuse me.
Hold on, Betty.
I said I have a very busy morning.
I'm afraid I'll have to keep you from it.
Exactly what do you want, Mr. Harrington?
Just this. You live in the Peyton house now. You'll become his confidant.
If he has changed the will, he'll never tell anyone until he's good and ready. You know that as well as I do.
I also know he keeps all the important papers pertaining to the estate in the house. That bedroom upstairs, the safe. There'll be a copy of the will in there.
Are you suggesting?
I'm not suggesting anything. I have to know what's in that will, and you're going to find out for me. I don't care how you do it. You're shrewd. You'll find a way.
Mr. Harrington, have you lost your mind? You asked me to come up here and begin briefing me like some mill hand, telling me perfectly matter-of-factly to go home and rifle Mr. Peyton's safe.
I don't expect you to do this for me, but I do expect you to do it for Rodney.
Rodney? Rodney wouldn't ask me to do a thing like this if his life depended on it.
Unfortunately, his life does depend on it. His present preoccupation with girls and gasoline has blinded him to the fact.
Don't you understand? Rod wants a life of his own. He doesn't care whether he's the heir or not.
That's easy for you to say, since you're married to his replacement.
Good day, Mr. Harrington. You let go of me.
Now listen, Betty. You owe Rodney a great deal. You married him under false pretenses. You tricked him. You cheated him.
How much revenge do you think you're entitled to?
You're the one who's taken revenge. You spent every waking moment since your marriage trying to oust Rodney from his rightful place, so you could walk over him on your way to the chair to Martin Peyton's right.
That's not true.
Yes, it's true. And now you're going to get hold of that will, so we can find out whether or not you've succeeded. Don't pretend you're not interested, Mrs. Cord.
No.
I'm afraid you have no alternative.
What are you getting at?
Just this. There was a certain little escapade in New York. The Blaine Detective Agency submitted a fully documented report, as you'll remember. You were quite a party girl in those days, Betty, weren't you? Very popular.
You said that report was going to be destroyed after the annulment. You promised my mother.
Unfortunately, I couldn't risk it. See, I've never been able to trust you, Betty. I've had to consider my son's interests.
Well, that's a new low even for you. And yet somehow blackmail seems to fit right into your character.
Name calling won't accomplish anything. I'm not trying to ingratiate myself to you. I need information, you're going to get it. It's as simple as that.
Somehow you seem to have forgotten one thing, Mr. Harrington. That Blaine report was and is a lie. That detective knew exactly what you wanted to hear, and that's what he told you. Well, I'm going to tell Stephen because he'll believe me, just as Rodney did.
Don't play the fool, Betty. Stephen isn't Rodney, and you know it. When you married Rodney, he was gullible, naive. Stephen is neither of these things. But even if he did believe you, do you think Martin Peyton would? He spent 28 years trying to conceal his daughter's sordid past. His idea of morality is strictly Victorian. Do you think he'd let you live in his house when he hears what I have to tell him? And don't forget Stephen's career. You'd hardly be an asset to him if this thing got out. He'd be ruined.
You're a loathsome man.
Mainly, I'm a desperate one. Think it over carefully, Betty. Believe me, your whole life depends on it. Good day.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
I just get awfully scared sometimes. I get this terrible feeling that it's all going to end.
I don't want that kind of talk coming from anyone, you included. And I'm telling you something, I've had enough of your sermons on morality. Not from you.
If there's something about my son, Elliot, you don't like, you go and talk to him about it. Get out of here, Chandler.